Williams, an editor at StarTelegram.com, and this is veteran police reporter Deanna Boyd. We're here today to talk about the puzzling case of Claudia Hiddick. She was a 17-year-old girl who was shot to death last month in a robbery that Fort Worth police say she orchestrated. Deanna, why do you think the community has been so intrigued by this case?
Well, I think there's been a couple of reasons behind that. One is there was so much mystery that was involved with the case from the get-go, because all of the witnesses to the shooting had fled the scene, and it was a matter of the home's renter arriving home and finding Claudia's body. No one really had any idea of what had happened in the beginning. The man who rented the house said he didn't know who the woman was. We've since learned it's because she had been face down and he didn't see her face, that he didn't recognize that she was Claudia. Right. But the mystery had people afraid about what was going on in the neighborhood. Was this a random killing? And then later on, when police revealed that no, she'd been part of this botched robbery, I think people were just intrigued about the details. How can a beautiful 17-year-old girl find herself in the middle of a botched robbery that police say she herself planned? Right,
and it certainly received a lot of media attention. There's a Facebook page created, saying we want justice for Claudia Hiddick, and Nancy Grace actually did a TV show kind of exploring that same matter. Since all of this has happened, we've been doing some investigating and came across some Child Protective Services documents kind of detailing some of her life experiences in her home. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, this is really the first insight that we've gotten into what Claudia's home life had been. And what these documents are telling us is that she grew up in a home, she had 15 siblings, and the allegations that have been made against her parents are that they treated their youngest daughters much differently than they treated the boys in the family. And that the girls were made to do a lot of manual labor while the boys could just come and go as they pleased. And then there were allegations of actual physical abuse and neglect, and these allegations have actually been surfacing as early as 2003, but it wasn't until 2009 that some serious physical abuse reports arose, investigation was done, and Claudia and her younger sister were actually taken from the home and put in foster care.
Okay. And at that point, Claudia had been attending Southwest High School in Fort Worth, and she went into a foster care situation which was close to Trinity High School in Euless, and then she went to Trinity and then dropped out there in February.
Right. And
do we know anything after that?
Well, what her sister tells us is that she had been through a couple of different foster families and a couple of different foster families, and that she had decided to leave her latest foster family and go move in with an older sister. Okay. At that point, she dropped out of Trinity, but according to her sister, had the plan of going into summer school and catching up and still graduating on time.
Okay, okay. Now, the two suspects in the case that she allegedly had recruited to do this robbery with, they're still in custody, is that correct?
Yes, they're both still in the Tarrant County Jail.
Okay. And you talked to the homeowner of the residence where the shooting occurred recently. What did he tell you?
He told me that he had known Claudia for about 2 months, that he was better acquainted with her sister. He was not very close with Claudia, but that she had been to his house previously. And he said that on the day of the shooting, he had been at work. He had allowed a woman and her 10-year-old daughter to stay at the house for 3 or 4 days prior to the shooting. And that apparently another friend had come over just to make sure that no one came to the house. That woman had brought a couple of people with her. He claims none of the drugs that were found inside the house were his, and is basically claiming that he had no idea that he was being set up for robbery when Claudia had called him that afternoon trying to meet up with him. Okay.
So now I guess at this point we just kind of wait to see what comes out in the trial, which we'll probably learn a lot more, I suspect, about Claudia when the two suspects end up at trial.
Yeah, I suspect we'll also learn a little bit more about how she knew the two suspects that are now accused in her death. Okay. Because her family members claim that they'd never heard of the names of these two men. In fact, her family still does not believe what police are saying, that she orchestrated this robbery. They don't understand. They said it doesn't make sense how such a young woman with no criminal history could recruit these two older men who did have criminal histories into doing something like this.
But police also told one of the sisters that she didn't know this side of her sister.
Right.
Correct?
When she talked to the investigator and said she didn't believe it, he said, I just don't think you knew your sister the way other people did.
Okay. Well, hopefully we all know a little bit more now about Claudia. Deanna, thanks.
Thank you.